That spoonful of sugar you stirred into your coffee this morning. You probably didn't notice it after the first sip, but your cells did. And their reaction unlocks a story that starts on a tiny island. What does that island have to do with you? Everything. Tokelau is a nation of 3 atolls in the Pacific Ocean, barely 12 square kilometers of land. Until the 1960s, people there lived almost exactly as their ancestors had for centuries. They fished. They harvested coconuts. Did they ever eat anything sweet? Occasionally. A ripe banana, a sip of coconut flower sap. Refined sugar simply did not exist there, and neither did diabetes. Why is that important? Because their bodies were a perfect match for their environment. In 1963, a New Zealand doctor named Ian Pryor began studying the health of Tokelauans. He wanted to see what traditional living did to the human body. What did he find? The adults were lean and muscular. Their blood pressure was low. Their hearts were strong. Their blood sugar was remarkably stable. Diabetes was almost unheard of. How could this be? They ate a lot of coconut fat, but their diet was completely whole. No processed carbohydrates, no sugar crashes. But that world was about to end. In the late 1960s, cargo ships from Samoa and New Zealand started arriving more often. They brought a new kind of food: white flour, white rice, and bags of refined white sugar. What happened next was a biological domino effect. Imagine a Tokelauan teenager trying a sugary donut for the first time. His brain didn't know what hit it, but his pancreas did. When you swallow that spoonful of sugar, your body launches a crisis response. Why a crisis? Because to your cells, that much pure sugar is a flood. They never expected it. Your pancreas releases a surge of insulin. What does insulin do? It unlocks your cells so the sugar can get in. Some gets burned for energy. But what if you don't need the energy right then? Your body never wastes calories. It converts the sugar into glycogen in your liver. And if your liver is already full, it turns the sugar into fat. Where does that fat go? Into your belly, around your organs, into your bloodstream as triglycerides. This system worked beautifully for 200,000 years. Why? Because sugar was a rare find. A handful of berries, a stolen honeycomb. Finding sugar meant survival. Your ancestors' brains rewarded them with a burst of dopamine. Insulin packed away every last calorie for the coming famine. What famine? The one that always came in the natural world. But on Tokelau after 1970, the ships kept coming. The sugar never ran out. The donuts never stopped. The insulin kept pouring. And eventually the cells stopped listening. What is that called? Insulin resistance. Think of it like a shouting parrot. Eventually, the child just tunes out, so the body shouts louder. More insulin. Even more fat storage. And now you are on the path to type 2 diabetes. Ian Pryor watched this unfold in real time. He ran follow-up studies in the 1970s and 1980s. The numbers were shocking. Health surveys by the World Health Organization later confirmed it. On some atolls, up to 38% of adults now have type 2 diabetes. How high is that? The global average is around 9%. In the United States, it is about 11%.
Right.
Tokelau's rate is among the highest on Earth, and it happened in about 50 years. Why did it happen so fast? Because the mismatch was extreme. Their bodies had never seen processed food. Your body, by contrast, has had a few more generations of exposure, yet it is still operating on the same ancient software. What does that mean for you? Every time you eat a candy bar, your insulin screams. Your fat cells stockpile. Your liver struggles. A Harvard researcher named Daniel Lieberman calls this disevolution. We didn't evolve for abundance. We evolved for scarcity. When scarcity vanishes, our survival tricks become deadly traps. Why can't your body just adapt? Evolution takes tens of thousands of years. The sugar flood has been rising for barely a century. Tokelau's story is not unique. It is a preview. You can see the same pattern everywhere you look. In your grocery store where sugar hides in bread and pasta sauce. In your yogurt. In your salad dressing. The average person in an industrialized country now eats around 17 teaspoons of added sugar a day. What is that doing to your insulin system? Quietly breaking it. In 1980, the world had about 108 million people with diabetes. By 2014, that number topped 422 million. Today, it exceeds 800 million. Why the explosion? A global flood of cheap sugar and processed food. The World Health Organization calls it an epidemic. But epidemics end. This one is still accelerating. Tokelau is a warning written in blood sugar levels. It shows you how fragile your metabolic health really is. What did their traditional diet have that yours lacks? Whole foods, fiber, a rhythm of feast and natural famine, not a constant, unending supply of glucose. Your metabolism is not broken. It is doing exactly what evolution programmed it to do. So, what is broken? The environment that keeps screaming at it. You cannot outrun this with exercise. Your ancestors never had to try. Their world simply did not offer the temptation. But yours places sugar within arm's reach at all times, on your desk, in your car, on your phone. How much did you have today? The island that sugar broke is not just a distant atoll. It is your kitchen. It is your bloodstream. Every time you reach for something sweet, you reenact the same experiment. Your body responds the same way a Tokelauan fisherman's did in 1975. First it stores, then it resists, then it breaks. That spoonful of sugar you stirred into your coffee, it was not a harmless treat. It was a signal from an ancient world. And your body is still listening. But you do not have to answer. You can choose whole foods. You can quiet the noise. You can step off the path that Tokelau mapped out for you. The real message from that tiny island: your health depends on remembering where your body came from and treating it with the respect the modern world forgot. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. A new story every week.